All right, everybody, I'm gonna give it a minute or two more here, see how this whole thing works out, make sure everybody's here. Today's gonna be a little bit different than what we did on Tuesday. Tuesday, I showed you a little bit of a concept on how to implement the hollow body into your workouts and how to make that plank 10 times harder than you've ever felt it before. We're gonna take that today and we're gonna tie it into the concepts that we're talking about. But today, we're gonna have more of a mental workout. We're gonna look at what we're doing with our food and how we're eating, because I don't care how hard you work out, how many hours you put in the gym, you can't out-train a poor diet. You just can't do it. And there's a few concepts that if you understand them, you can really begin to manipulate things. So those of you who know me know I'm very long-winded and I get a little technical. So I'm going to try to keep it really concise today, but get some good bullet points on some concepts that'll get you going in the right direction, okay? And again, like last time, and thank you, this is why we're doing this, the food kind of coaching, food concepts. A little bit of feedback went a long way, kind of gave us some direction, so thank you. Again, jgenova at healthsport.com. Reach out, communicate. What do you want to know? If you want to work on something, let us know. I know that it feels really cool to be a part of this team again, to be in contact with you guys again. We're doing some really cool stuff. Me and John Thompson from the Institute of Combat, we maintain social distance today, but we created a cool a jiu-jitsu dummy, so that look for it soon. We'll be doing some stay-at-home jiu-jitsu classes, some striking classes. I know Tyson Miller from the Institute of Combat, as well as Health Sport. He's been doing some cool stuff with you guys here on Mondays and Wednesdays, but also John Thompson from the Institute of Combat will be doing some real cool stuff as well too. So things are kind of coming back to life and getting right back there. So summer season, bikini season is right around the corner, and all things willing, we can start seeing each other soon enough. And maybe we want to present the way we want to present. And I know I can speak for myself. I've been making a lot more tacos, and I put on about 7 pounds of stuff that I'm gonna be shedding off. And some of the stuff that I'm gonna be sharing today is gonna help with that for myself, as well as if you guys want to try to implement it, it'd be cool. And like I said, I'm going to tie in the workout that we did on Tuesday. We're going to tie that in today. So it's going to be pretty cool. That workout, just to kind of recap, was basically a 9 to a 12-minute blast of mountain climbers plank and burpees. And just doing those 3 sets, those 3 little exercises 3 times for a minute in length, it got Ginger Greenlee breaking a sweat. Now I'm going to show you how to use that 10-minute workout a couple times a day, tied with a couple of these concepts, and it's going to reset your hormonal structure. It's going to get your body firing off and doing what it needs to do to recalibrate and burn calories, set yourself up for success, whether you want to build muscle, burn fat. It's pretty cool. And if you have any questions, again, with any of the stuff that we're doing, jgenova at healthsport.com, okay? To kind of kick things off though, what I really want you to think about, it's more of a challenge. I will challenge you, okay? Might not be always with the workout, but it will most definitely try to get you to focus. And right now at this time, all these things are loose, it's weird, it's hard, sometimes maybe it might be hard to maintain a focus. And I want to ask you guys right now, do you have a goal? Do you know what you're working toward, whether it's in life or whether it's with your fitness? I don't know what that is, but I want you, yes, we're talking about fitness right now, we're talking about dietary stuff, but if you don't have a goal, how do you have direction? If you don't know where you're trying to go, how do you know what steps to take to get there? Even if it's I want to lose 1 pound. Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds, but maybe you say this week, I want to lose 1 pound. You set a small goal. And we figure out steps to take to get there, so you knock that first goal out and bang, you go for it. Maybe you want a bigger bicep. You say, Joe, I want to do that. Cool. We'll figure out the steps that it needs to take. Now, right now, this is an interesting situation. Again, I'm talking into a camera. Usually I ask somebody, what is your goal? What are you trying to do? And then we base these whole food coaching kind of conceptual things based on that. But I'm asking you to challenge yourself right now to even take a pen and a paper and say, this is my goal. This is what I'm trying to do. And then I kind of wrote it up here. It's a little small. It's more of a cue for me. What steps are you taking to achieve that goal? Do you know the steps? Now, these are the things that we can help you with. I know we're at a distance, but we can still help you with it, okay? I want you to know that you have the ability, you have a team in us. All of us we're passionate about this stuff, and we all have the ability to help walk you through this. We're trying to communicate with you, so just reach out to us and we can help find a way to achieve all the different goals when it comes to your health and fitness, okay? So first thing, if you're right here, right now, this is you right here, and you want to be this. I don't know what that is. You know, there's the quickest distance between 2 points is a straight line. You can charge straight ahead for weeks and months on end toward a goal and achieve it. You can't. You can do that. You can do the number of things. In life, we end up doing stuff more like this, right? You end up going, you like charge ahead for a little while, and then you take a couple of steps back, and then sometimes this COVID-19 thing did this to a lot of different people, you know? And that's kind of where we're at right now. It's people are regaining their focus, so we're coming back together, we're finding ways to find solutions. And I just want you to know that we're here to find solutions with you guys. And I'm again, right now, I want you to say to yourself, this is what I want to do with my health and fitness. I mean, you're here, you're looking at us on camera, so obviously you're trying to pursue some goal with your health and fitness. And what I want you to do is write that down. I want you to take a piece of paper and say, by the end of 2 weeks from now, have a 2-week goal. Something reasonable, something small, not something like I want to drop 4 pant sizes or something like that, but something that's very reasonable that you think you can do. If you don't know what that is, reach out, ask. jgenova@healthsport.com. I'll help you find out what a reasonable goal is, and then we'll find action steps to pursue it, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're talking about food and how to manipulate that with some cool little exercises that you're learning from us via the online stuff that we're doing, okay? So without further ado, we're going to get started here. What I really want you to think about, and this is a good one, what are macronutrients? Right? We've heard people say that before. What a macronutrient? Like, what is that? You know, and maybe you know, maybe you don't know. I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you what those things are right now. But let's answer yourself if you know. If you don't, I'm going to show you right now, okay? Pretty straightforward. We have proteins, we have fats, and we have carbs. Now, we've heard those words being thrown around, but do we know what they are? Hours and hours and hours I talk to people about food, and when I ask them, what is a carbohydrate? Not everybody knows the answer to that. So we're going to go through it a little bit. When I ask what's a protein, people usually got that one pretty dialed in. It's, you know, different kinds of meat. And like you say, you have your fish, you have your steak, you have your pork, chicken, eggs, all kinds of protein inside of that, right? But when I ask what a carb is, you know, some people say, oh, you got your pastas, your breads, then it kind of slows down. Then we talk about maybe some potatoes, there's carbs in vegetables, which we'll talk about that in a little bit, but fruit, all kinds of things have carbohydrates, they're made up of carbohydrates. What I want you to associate carbs with, though, what I want you to understand is that carbs are sugar. Okay, no matter how, when they break down into your body, they become glucose and glycogen. Like I said, I'm not going to try to get too scientific, so just think carbs equal sugar when you put them into your body, okay? So let's talk about proteins again. We already said it. It's the meat groups. It's all the things that when it breaks down, it becomes amino acids, okay? Fats, what are the fats? When you think of fats, what does that mean to you? I want you to start thinking nuts, seeds, oils, things like that, okay? So we have carbs, our sugars, they break down into glucose and glycogen. Fats, they're the things that, like your nuts, your seeds, your oils, and things like that. Those break down into triglycerides. We won't go too crazy with the big words. And then your proteins, those break down into amino acids. Now I'm going to take this to a very, very, very layman's kind of setup here, all right? Well, I want you to think of your proteins. These are your building blocks, okay? All the little cells in your body, all the different stuff, all the different tissues, they're these building blocks, right? And that's your amino acids. Let's think of it in that small of a term. Now we need things that are going to help break down and repair and rebuild those things. We need energy to do that, right? So I want you to think of, for starters, carbs. This is a source of fuel, okay? So you have building blocks and you have fuel. You have a complete circuit to rebuild your body. With proteins and carbs, you're good to go, right? On the inverse, fats are also a source of fuel, right? So you have building blocks and you have fuel. It's a complete circuit. So you can have proteins and carbs, make all things good. Proteins and fats, make all things good. Now we run into a little bit of an issue when we start putting fats and carbs into the same meal. It's a little bit, it's like too much fuel for the fire. Now I did not preface this. This is one specific school of thought. There are hundreds of schools of thought when it comes to nutrition. This one we've seen, it translates and it works for a majority of people. Okay, so when people are going to say, what about keto? What about the carnivore diet? What about intermittent fasting? And all those different things. Those are great questions. Please hit me up, jgenova at healthsport.com, and I'll help figure that out for you. But right now, coming back to this is just one school of thought that helps segment and segregate the kinds of macronutrients you're putting into your body at different times of the day to help you seamlessly achieve your goals without radically changing your diet, okay? I know it sounds like an infomercial, but you can really just break apart what you're eating and it makes a world of difference, okay? So one more time, proteins, these are the amino acids, these are the building blocks of your body. Carbohydrates, that's a source of fuel to rebuild your body. But so are fats. That's also a source of fuel to rebuild your body. So either one of these two can do the trick. This one just does it really easy because your body likes sugar. It digests very quickly, and your brain loves it. It goes, sugar, I feel good, right? So understanding that, right, that you need proteins and you need carbs, or you need proteins and fats to have a complete meal, right? We'll talk about putting vegetables in and all that stuff in a little bit, but as far as your macros go, this is what you need. Now, what I'm going to go into next, it does not apply to a diabetic. So if you're a diabetic, just ask me a question. Say, jgenova at healthsport.com. Help me understand what I can do as a diabetic. But for everybody else, your blood sugar, normal blood sugar is between 120 and 80, right? So like when you wake up in the morning, you haven't eaten all night. Hopefully you haven't eaten all night. But when you wake up, your blood sugar is a little bit lower, right? But as you begin to eat sugar, your blood sugar can't raise unless you eat sugar, by the way. If you don't eat sugar, it doesn't go up. But so when you eat some carbohydrates, blood sugar goes up, right? And then your energy begins to wane throughout the day. You eat some more carbohydrates, your blood sugar goes back up. Okay, does that make sense? I eat carbohydrates, my blood sugar goes up. So when I have a bowl of fruit with some oats, that's carbs on carbs, my blood sugar's going up pretty high, right? The crazy thing is, though, it's actually pretty cool. I really like it. Is that when your blood sugar gets to that 120 mark, we have something called insulin, right? It's produced in our pancreas. I won't go into all the details. But when your blood sugar gets to 120, insulin, it comes crashing down. It says, bam, nah, I don't want you going any higher because I know that's not good for me. So when your blood sugar rises up, insulin comes crashing down. Now I'm going to show you how to manipulate your insulin levels to do some really cool stuff. But to understand this first, blood sugar goes up, insulin comes down, okay? Insulin is it's a wonderful hormone. It's one of our master hormones of our body. So when insulin is released in your body, so is IGF factor, testosterone, estrogen. All the big players start coming into your body as soon as insulin is released. So depending on your goals, we can manipulate that insulin level to really do some cool stuff. So I'm just gonna erase this real quick here. We'll look at this again and again. I will be on repeat here. All right. So we have 120 and 80. Again, I'm just gonna hit the brakes real fast. This video will be on. I know that we've been posting them after. They're not just live. So you can go back. There's a lot of content in here. I want you to be able to go back and re-watch, ask questions, okay? But so your blood sugar is at 80, you put some carbohydrates in. Dry this off well enough here. You put some carbohydrates in, your blood sugar goes up. Insulin comes down. You do it again, say you eat some carbs in your next meal. Maybe it's a snack, maybe it's some fruit and nuts, right? Sugar goes up, insulin comes down. But look at what's happening. And when I put my blood sugar up, insulin begins to work. It has to work to make it come back down. If not, our blood sugar just goes way too high. What happens when we begin to do carbohydrates all day long is that insulin begins to work real hard. It begins to, your pancreas is saying like, man, you're making me make a lot of this insulin stuff. And over time, your body becomes resistant to the hormone, right? There's something called insulin resistance. And those of us who've been at any time, qualified as obese, we are technically insulin resistant. It's a fact. If you are anywhere above a certain percent in body fat, you are insulin resistant. It's an interesting thing to reset your hormones. I'm going to give you the tools to do that though, right here, right now. It's super cool. It's super easy. It's just doing it, right? The concepts are not hard. It's just the practical application of doing it. Now, I'm here to help you with that too, but we'll get there in a second. So, when my blood sugar goes up, insulin comes down. Makes the blood sugar go back down. What else do you think might make your blood sugar go down? When you work out, when you strain your body, when you go through a lot of ranges of motion, you put your body to the test, you're storing your carbohydrates you eat. Like I said, it gets stored as glucose and glycogen. The glycogen fills your muscle bellies and you start doing some stuff and it uses that fuel. So your blood sugar, when you work out, your blood sugar drops, right? So that's an interesting thing. I eat carbohydrates, my blood sugar goes up. When my insulin comes crashing down, it goes back down. But if we want to eat some carbohydrates, if we decide to work out either before or after, we're regulating our own hormonal response there. Now I'm going to show you how to do that pretty cool. And I'm going to tie back into what we did with the challenge on Tuesday, okay? So think about that one more time. I'm going to do another 120 to 80 over here. Let's say I have some carbohydrates with my breakfast and I let insulin do the work for me, right? But let's say right before my lunchtime, let's say this is lunchtime right here. Right before my lunchtime, I do a 10-minute blast, some mountain climbers, some burpees, and some planks. I crack a sweat. I drain my blood sugar down. I make my body go to that point where it's like, give me sugar, I want some food. So then, if we spike our blood sugar, then it won't skyrocket past that 120 point. It's going to get our hormones timed to say, look, I drained my blood sugar, I put blood sugar back in. We're re-regulating, we're recalibrating how our hormones respond to the food. So this insulin resistance, this is a key to, it's basically like insulin resistance leads to prediabetes, leads to type 2 diabetes and all that stuff, right? So if we're anywhere on that obese scale, this is a key way to begin to go in the opposite direction. And those who are looking to build muscle as well, the same system applies. It's pretty cool, okay? So, one more time. Let's say I eat some carbohydrates in the morning time or I'm snacking on some stuff while I'm doing my day, right? My carbohydrates, my blood sugar's a little high. Right before lunch, I know I'm gonna have some carbohydrates. I have a sandwich or a burrito or whatever that is. I'm gonna drain my blood sugar. I'm gonna bust my butt for 10 minutes doing that challenge that I gave you on Tuesday. Now that will make you sweat enough, it'll make you work enough, I guarantee, to drop your blood sugar to when you have a reasonable amount of carbohydrates, that your body's gonna recalibrate that hormonal response and your insulin is gonna be primed to do what it needs to do. So one of the coolest things about trying to overcome insulin resistance is just doing it. Right? Instead of just working out, like I know a lot of people come into the gym or they'll sit and do an hour-and-a-half class or something like that and go, I got my workout in the day. Now that's great. You drained your blood sugar all the way down for one small portion of the day, okay? And then the rest of the day when you're putting carbs in and doing stuff, your body's still having the same hormonal response. But if, let's say you still do your hour workouts, or maybe you don't, maybe it's hard in this time. It's kind of interesting to try to find the time to do some workouts right now. We have more time, but it's just hard to stay committed to it. Let's say we recreate this process 3 times a day, right? You have your breakfast, lunch, and your dinner. And if you just make that small mental commitment, it's a big one. I'm not asking everybody to do this right now. But if we think about it, if you do a 10-minute workout, drain your blood sugar, get your body primed, ready for that food, for breakfast, and you do the same thing for lunch, you do the same thing for dinner, you're going to be set up for success and you're going to be recalibrating your body's hormonal response. So where your body will it will begin to shed off some weight, okay? Now I'm going to give you a couple other concepts. Like I said, there's a lot of content here and I got to kind of jam it in, but I'm going to do what I can. All right. Give me just 1 second here. I'm going to wipe this off a little bit better. So back to our proteins, carbs, and our fats, right? So let's look at that again. We have these cool meals that we can do. We have proteins, carbs, and fats. We know these are the sugars, right? These are the guys that make your blood sugar go up. So carbs are not the bad guy. The society has somewhat demonized carbohydrates. That's not the case. Carbohydrates are an amazing source of fuel for our body. But it's about knowing when to put them into our body, right? And also knowing when to not put carbs and fats in the same meal, right? Let's think about some of those foods real fast. Let's look at some bread with some cheese, some grilled cheese. Amazing, amazing tasting food. But if you lived on it, we're gonna get bigger, right? Same thing with pizza. You got your crust and you got your cheese, you got all those things. Those foods that put those these two macronutrients together, they really do lend to weight gain. Now we can manipulate and use that if you're trying to get bigger for a specific sport or something like that. But if your goal is to lose weight, minimalizing the time we put carbs and fats in the same meal is going to lend to our success, okay? What we can do though is we can time this, right? Let's say you want to have carbs 3 times a day. Well, we do a little 10-minute, 15-minute bust of our butts to get our blood sugar to drop a little bit, and then we can have those carbohydrates. Or let's say our first meal of the day is more on this proteins and fat side with some vegetables. We'll talk about vegetables here at the very end when I have to try to get that in. But let's say that first meal is proteins and fats, right? So like I said in the beginning, your blood sugar doesn't go up if you don't put sugar in it. So let's say we stayed on this side of the fence for our breakfast. So we're humming down here. Maybe for our lunch, we do the same thing. We're humming down here, where our blood sugar's not getting all over the place. But let's say we're gonna have some pasta, or we know we're gonna go out with our friends and have some dinner for some nice dinner. We're gonna have some carbohydrates. So right before that, maybe we do a 10-minute blast, or maybe we're hitting the gym when we reopen, we're back in health sport doing the thing. Maybe that's when we drain our body's natural resources so that we can spike it back up and get our insulin response to be timed the right way. I hope that makes sense. I can say it 100 different times, 100 different ways, but simply, we separate our fats and our carbs into different meals, right? This side of the fence, if we're not going to be draining our blood sugar, if we're not going to be busting our hump all day long, let's play on this side of the fence over here, okay? And if we're going to be doing some working out, that's when we can begin to play on this side of the fence. Carbs aren't bad, we just need to put them in at the right time. I tell all my clients, we just got to earn our carbs, okay? So think about it in that concept. I want to earn my carbs, I'm going to break a sweat, and then bang, you're good to go. Now, that's within reason, that's within moderation. If we have a burrito every day, like I've been eating tacos like every day. Ginger and I have been making homemade tortillas and doing the thing a lot. I put on some weight because I was having carbs all day long. I wasn't following the system. I was like, Corona, COVID, I'm gonna do this thing. And I did. I threw on some extra weight. How do I intend to shred my body right back down to where I was before I hit the gym and do the thing? This system right here. I will separate my carbs and my fats. I will eat my carbs only after I train hard. It doesn't need to be for a long time. 9 minutes, that's all you need. You just need to bust it, sweat, crack your sweat, make yourself work, make yourself breathe. Then you can reward yourself with a little bit of whole food carbohydrate source. Now let's talk about that. We talk about carbs. Bread is not a whole food, pasta is not a whole food. We're gonna eat them, but they're not whole foods. Fruits are. Like an apple is an amazing post-workout snack, right? So is a banana, depending on your goal. Ask me at jgenovahealthsport.com. I'll tell you which fruits do best for what goal, okay? We don't have enough time today to go into all those things. But understanding that we're trying to eat whole food sources here too, okay? Like, yeah, in a pinch, you can go to a drive-thru at the new In-N-Out whenever that opens up, and you can get an animal-style protein wrap where they don't have no bread, and you can do those things, and we can manipulate the macros with processed food as well. But if we're eating potatoes for our carbohydrates, we're having fruit for our carbohydrates, and we're doing it in that fashion, we're going to be set up for success, okay? And we're incorporating those healthy nuts, seeds, and oils. Olive oil, don't get me started on it. It's amazing, amazing food. The omega-3s in it are super great. Maybe I'll do a whole segment one day on just omega-3s. You guys probably won't want to hear that, but it's amazing stuff. And then your proteins, just eat them from, if you can, get organic. I know it's expensive, but if you can, it's amazing. It's better for the planet all the way around. That's my own personal viewpoint. Sorry. Anyway, this is the crux of it, okay, guys? It's pretty straightforward. It's not hard math. Earn your carbs, bust your butt prior, and then you can have some of these whole food sources. After a little while, too, of not eating processed candy, sugars, and sweets and all that stuff, fruit becomes a very, very, very tasty thing, and it's like our candy, right? But this is also, it's a lot. And maybe right now you're watching this and you're saying, Joe, I drink 12 sodas a day. I have DiGiorno pizza for dinner every day. I do all this stuff, and you're way far off base on everything that I do. I don't know if I can make those changes to do what you just said. No, okay, we'll just throw this to the wayside right now, okay? You keep it in your, saved folder because this will help you get to where you want to go. But I want to talk to you about, like I said in the very beginning, maybe you're here and you want to get here. What's your goal? What are you trying to do? What are those action steps, okay? Let's say maybe we do drink 12 sodas a day. Maybe that's a real number for you, okay? What I want you to do, challenge yourself, okay? If you know you buy that case or 6-pack or whatever it is, ask yourself if I can do one less today. Instead of having 12, let me see if I can do 10. And I want you to feel good about it. If you can go to that place inside of yourself and say, yeah, Joe, on a scale of 1 to 10, a 0 saying, I can't do that, man. And a 10's like, yeah, I got you. If you drink 12 sodas a day and you think you're on that 9 or 10, like, yeah, Joe, I can do 10 instead of 12, or I can do 4 instead of 6, whether that's soda, that's beer, that's the things that you know that just aren't the best, right? This week, challenge yourself. Tomorrow, I don't even care about this week, I just want you to do tomorrow. I want you to think, instead of 12, I'm going to do 10, or instead of 4, I'm going to do 2, or whatever that is. I want you to just take the things that you know are the vices in our life and ask myself if I can minimize just by a little bit on the bad and a little bit more of the good. On Tuesday, I put on a workout that takes 10, 12 minutes. It's not a lot. See if you can do that workout. If you can't do the whole thing the way I showed you, do all the modifications and take it slow, but start there. Or if you got it, do it 3 times a day, like we just talked about, 3 times. For every single meal you have, drain your blood sugar and then spike it back up, or hang out on this side of the fence for the entire day. You can do that. There's all kinds of ways to manipulate this stuff. Again, questions, jgenova@healthsport.com. I'm here to help you, okay? But like I said, establish a goal. Figure out where you're at now, where you want to be, and then plot a course to get there, okay? And the goal, like it could be, I want to lose 2 pounds in 2 weeks, or I want to lose a pound this week. We can do it. It's reasonable. You can do it. You can do it. You can lose up to 2 pounds healthily per week, every week for the next, I don't know, we've got to look at your body weight and all those different things to figure out what that looks like. But you can lose the weight. You can do it in a really relatively short amount of time if you follow these tactics, okay? I do want you to think about questions. I want you to put them out in front of me, because this is where this whole thing kind of comes from, is you guys are telling me what you want to hear, and I'm gonna throw it back at you. Like I said, there's a lot of information here, but I mean, you can hit replay. That's the coolest thing, right? It's not just a live thing that will be posted back up, and you can go back and reference this. Learn your macros. The one thing I didn't get a chance to go into today yet was reading a label, right? That's one of the biggest things. Check out the serving sizes. Maybe on the next meeting, I'll bring a label and we'll go through it. Look at what it says for serving size. Usually the package is not a serving size. It's usually 2 to 5 servings or even 16 servings. Like peanut butter, I have a problem with peanut butter, I do, I admit it. I eat sometimes 8 to 12 servings of peanut butter in one sitting. And I look at the macros and I go, oh, there's only 6 grams of carbs per serving. And I had my servings and I realized you guys went big with that though, you know. So read your serving sizes. And the one that I really want you to be aware of, especially if you're trying to play this game here with the carbs and the fats, is that when it says, let's say it says you have 18 grams of carbs inside of this package or this serving size, but it says it has 12 grams of fiber, okay? So it's a very cool thing. Fiber is a carbohydrate, but it minuses it. You don't even go to the science of it. If it says 18 grams of carbs and 12 grams of fiber, you actually only have 6 grams of net carbs, okay? So when you're looking at how many carbs am I going to have and all that stuff, if you end up getting to that place, understanding that the carbs minus fiber equals your net carbs. It's a pretty cool thing to look at, and it's good to be aware of, okay? Now, we have a couple more minutes here, and I really want to go through this one last concept. I haven't talked about it too much. I've kind of front-loaded and kind of touched on it briefly, but it's the almighty vegetable, right? It goes back to the tried and true. You hear it from your parents, from your loved ones. Always eat your vegetables, right? The reason why we eat our vegetables is based on our blood pH, which I won't go into too much today. But I want you to know that, like, just the basic straightforwardness. If you eat at a plate like this, and we're talking about having proteins and fats, let's say protein covers a portion of your plate like this. Maybe your fats, we'll talk about how this looks on your plate. Let's say you cook with some oil and eat some stuff, so you have your proteins and your fats. I want to see the rest of your plate be vegetables. That's dense green leafy vegetables. We need vegetables so that we can actually get the nutrients into our body, okay? Maybe we'll chime that in for the next, one of these next informational things, but I do want you to know, just real quick, when you eat amino acids, when you eat fatty acids, when you eat all of those things, I'm just going to do this real fast. This is a pH scale. All the things, fatty acids make you more acid. Amino acids make you more acidy. When you have sugars, it makes you more acidy. The only thing that makes you more alkaline, well, there's a couple, but one of the big ones are these dense green vegetables. And we need our alkalinity to be somewhere around here to be able to digest, process, and absorb our nutrients. Lots of stuff to go over. I'm sure you have questions. Replay the video. Ask. JGenova at healthsport.com. I hope you found this information useful, and we'll see you next time.